Welcome, everybody. My name is Jeff Gordon, and I am the project manager of our Interaction Design ixd Bachelor degree program here at Santa Monica College. It's so good to see everyone here. This is our final info session before our application deadline on March 1st, 2021. So for the students who are applying for this upcoming year, we wish you the very best, and hopefully this information session will be helpful for you as you work through your application. For students who are not sure about whether they're ready to apply this year or not, we're going to talk about what we're looking for. If not, we do encourage you to apply for our next cycle, which will be fall 2022. The applications for the next cycle will open up again on December 1st. I'd like to take a moment to introduce our wonderful panel. We have our faculty lead with us, Nicole. Welcome, Nicole. We have our senior here, our star senior, Miguel. Miguel is also the design club president. So if you're looking for a great way to get involved, either as a interaction design student in undergrad, Miguel is your guy to talk to. And we have our wonderful counselor here, Amanda Garcia. Amanda is our counselor. So I'm going to pass this over to Nicole. Along the way, if you do have any questions, just go ahead and throw them into the chat. I will acknowledge that I've received the question, and then we'll answer those questions at the end of the information session.
Great, thanks, Jeff. Hello, everybody. As Jeff said, I'm Nicole Chan. I'm the faculty lead of the Interaction Design program at Santa Monica College. Thank you for coming out tonight. I'm excited to hear any questions you may have. And as Jeff said, if as they pop up as I'm talking, go ahead and put them in the chat for us. So I'm going to give you a little history about our program. SMC-eXd is one of 15 baccalaureate degrees offered at the community college level in all of California. And this interaction design program is like no other program at any community college in California or even in the country. The only other institutions that offer bachelor's degree in interaction design are private colleges. For example, Art Center College of Design in Pasadena and California College of the Arts in San Francisco. So in January of 2015, we were chosen as one of 15 community colleges to pilot a baccalaureate degree. In May of 2015, we received our final approval from the California Community College Board of Governors. And since the approval and program launch with the first cohort in fall of 2016, we have started our 5th cohort of students this fall. We have some amazing alumni who are doing really exciting work. We have Rhea, who is at Facebook as a product designer. We have Amanda at JP Morgan and Chase, who is a senior UX researcher. Orhan started his own UX studio. It's called Playground Vision. We have Sarah, who's doing UX UI design at NBC Universal Media. And we have Sade, who is at Activision, which is a really large interactive entertainment company. This is the home of the game called Call of Duty. And Melody is a UX researcher at Red Bull. And we do have a beautiful building that houses our program in Santa Monica. We are really excited to be able to return to campus when it is safe to do so. So let's go ahead and discuss interaction design. The focus today is on people in junior standing with over 60 units. The tough questions are on course equivalencies or if you have courses from another college or work experience. I won't be answering specific questions during this presentation, but we have a lot of information regarding the program and the submission process. If you have less than 60 transferable credits or are going to be starting college, there is a path for you too. We can put you in contact with a counselor who can answer your specific questions. You can also start as a freshman in our graphic design program or somewhere else, or you can transfer to SMC at any stage, but we'll still need to apply to the ixd program. I also want to let you know that this is a full-time program and applicants must be prepared to be enrolled full-time to have optimal success. So let's go ahead and jump into what we're going to cover today. So what is interaction design? Well, Dieter Rams is an industrial designer, and it's really true. Interaction design is nothing but innovative, but what is it really? Well, interaction design is about designing for behavior and how we interact with digital products every day. It's about creating the best experience for people and meeting their research-specific identified needs. And that requires the interaction designers uncover complex problems, develop an understanding of who we are designing for, and design the best behavior for their experience. So interaction design is the study of many things. User experience design, or UX design, for example, visual design, motion design, computer science, product, industrial, psychology. These are all architecture. These all feed into interaction design, and everyone coming from these different areas play a role in creating this experience for people. So good design makes a product useful. So for example, Fitbit is a great example of making a product useful. This is a wearable, it's unobtrusive, and since it's worn day and night, it becomes part of your skin. The interaction with the actual device is minimal. It's there, but you don't know it. It reminds you in subtle ways. Teams of designers, including interaction designers, have created the wearable to provide an experience. So it's useful and meaningful, and it's highly intuitive. So Fitbit makes it easy and fun to track your steps. You know, it makes 10,000 steps a day into a game. Then that way you want to share it with your friends. Good design is thorough down to the last detail. And Uber really has the details down. Everything about this experience is easy. It revolutionized the way we call a cab and the entire transport experience itself. No more paying the cab driver directly and tipping. A simple sign-on takes care of all the details. The experience from beginning to end is seamless, from the point of contact to the simplicity of receiving the final digital receipt. Uber has pared down the experience to the most simplest of details, even now designing their experience around COVID-19 and wearing masks to use their product. Good design makes a product understandable. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with MailChimp. It's a service that needed to be redesigned and more understandable. For years, sending out an email campaign was a challenging task for any business, large or small. Rather than wrestling with the management of email lists and trying to code HTML templates and sending out mass emails, MailChimp made it easy for anyone to manage and create email newsletter and campaigns. And with their own highly developed personal brand, MailChimp came along and completely reinvented the experience. They made it fun experience filled with their own lighthearted sense of humor. So in addition to interaction designer, a bachelor's degree can lead to other careers like UX designer, information architect, mobile designer, web designer, product designers, or user interface designers. These are all really well-paid careers. So let's go ahead and talk about the Interaction Design Bachelor of Science. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Amanda.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly talk about prepping for the ixd program. So I know that this info session is targeted mostly for students that are close to being ready to apply, but if you happen to fall into the category where maybe you need a few more units, typically we recommend the Graphic Design Associate's degree to pick up some of those classes. And what that is made up of is 28 units worth of core classes that are more traditional graphic design, and then 12 units of a UX concentration. And those courses are typically the highly recommended courses listed on our articulation. So if you go to the next page, you'll be able to see that those core graphic design classes listed on the top, and then those highly recommended courses are right there at the bottom, the UX, Web3, Mobile 1, Mobile 2. But again, the Graphic Design Associate's degree is not a requirement to apply to the program. So I would just use this for reference if you're needing extra units in order to work towards being eligible to applying. And we'll talk about that in a second as well. And then back to Nicole to talk about the more exciting stuff with the ixd courses.
So all descriptions of these courses are on our ixd website, on ixd.smc.edu. These courses are all offered in a sequence. So we have Interaction Design Studios 1, 2, and 3. We have a project management class. We have a tangible interaction class, which is working with microcomputers and coding and how those two can talk to each other and create movement and experiences. We have an interactive storytelling class because stories are an important part of the work that we do. A senior studio, it's your final kind of capstone work as a senior. We have a portfolio class, so it's prepping you for career, services and resources and application. Product design class, where we get into physical, creating physical things, and the kind of the story and process around how to create those types of experiences. Design for community change, where we think about communities and the impact that we might have on them and the work that we do with them. And then we have a class called Design for the Future, where we tap into forward-thinking, future-thinking ways of designing. Our program is a firm believer in incorporating real-world design challenges and sponsored projects from companies into our core classes. So, for example, the studios, typically 1, 2, and 3, ixd Senior Studio or Design for Community Change, will bring in partners to work with during these classes. This gives you the opportunity to interact and receive critique and feedback from working designers, as well as build a strong portfolio of work based on real challenges from these companies. So some of the sponsored projects we have worked with are Activision, Hulu, Bird, Red Bull, Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, and the American Heart Association. So again, as we mentioned, go ahead and apply for fall 2021. You can easily find where to apply on our website. And you can also check out the program page for the sequence of classes if you have any questions around those. I also want to highlight that we do have a really great FAQ section on our website. And these, if you have any general questions, this section might help you answer those. And again, if it doesn't, go ahead and please reach out, and we're happy to help you in any way that we can. So Amanda, I'm going to pass it to you again.
Yes, and then is that where the industry page was also going to be?
I already did that.
Oh, yay. Okay. The link to the website as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Okay. So I'm going to now talk about applying for the admissions process. So the application cycle, for those of you that are applying now, you know that March 1st is the upcoming deadline. For those of you that are applying in the future, typically the admission cycle runs late fall through early spring. So you can keep those dates in mind. And then the requirements in order to apply for the program are, as I was talking about earlier, the graphic design classes are not required to be admitted, but we do have academic admission requirements. So this is the part that's really, really important if you're planning to apply for this coming fall. So the first thing is we're looking to make sure that you are at that 60 unit mark by the end of spring. So yeah, anything that you have in progress will count as long as you show that in your application. Secondly, we're looking for the equivalent of our English 1 and English 2. So if you have any questions, if you're here from any other college and you have questions about that, you can reach out to myself or general counseling to make sure that you've met those requirements. And lastly, a math class that meets the general education for transfer. Typically, we recommend statistics if that's what's available at your college. An alternative is accounting 45 or business 45, individual financial planning at Santa Monica. And then to make sure that you have an overall 2.0 GPA by the end of spring to be eligible for fall. So as long as you meet those academic requirements, all those boxes are checked, we can move your portfolio on to the next round where the admissions committee will review. So one of the big questions we get asked a lot is who should be applying for this program. And the faculty are really excited about having, a diverse set of students applying based on your background. So if you have 60 units under your belt, if you've already achieved a bachelor's degree, if you've taken graphic design classes, if you have industry experience, even if you've never taken graphic design before, if you have a related field, yeah, we encourage all students to apply for the program. So if you're new to Santa Monica College, first of all, welcome. What you'll want to do is make sure that you apply for admissions to SMC, because one of the questions will ask you to input your SMC ID number. That's just for record purposes. So then once you have your ID number and you fill out the supplemental application, which is found on Slide Room, that's how you'll go about that. And I think on the next slide, it'll show what the apply page on SMC looks like. So if you don't have an SMC ID, it's really really quick. You usually get it, within a 24-hour turnaround time. So make sure not to leave that to the last minute at smc.edu/apply. And then for students that are already SMC students, we ask that you log into your Coursera account and just check that your intended goal is the ixd bachelor degree program, and that's just for record purposes. And then you as well will go to the slide room application to fill out that portion and upload your portfolio. So of the ixd, and I'll pass this right back to Nicole in a second, but for the ixd supplemental materials, for the supplemental form, it's demographic information, and there's also a couple personal essays that are available, and then you'll move on to uploading the portfolio, which Nicole will cover. And one of the questions I get asked very often is about the essay questions. What are they? If you actually go to the slide room application, you can preview the application and see what those essay prompts are if you wanted to inform yourself ahead of time. But yeah, I'll pass it back to Nicole with the good stuff when it comes to the portfolio.
And just one more thing I wanted to add before Nicole jumps in there. We do have a limited number of counseling appointments available. We have another great counselor like Amanda, Nancy, who's helping us through this application cycle. She does have some availability on February 25th. I'm dropping that link in the chat. I'm asking on the honor system, if you are thinking of applying for fall 2021 and you do need additional help, especially if you're coming from another community college and you want to make sure that there are equivalencies, go ahead and make an appointment with Nancy. But if you're thinking about applying in a future cycle like fall 2022, there's going to be plenty of other appointments in March and April available and more info sessions down the road, I promise. Nicole, back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as Amanda mentioned, you want to go to smcixd.slideroom.com and you will be able to create an account and review the essay questions. So let's talk about portfolio requirements. We get a lot of questions about this. You have up to 5 uploads for the portfolio section, so 3 to 5 projects. If you include an external link to YouTube or Vimeo, this will count as an upload. So be sure to compress your work so that it doesn't get too large. We have video resource to review at your own pace of portfolio requirements that we'll share in the chat. So what we're going to want to see in this portfolio of work is, again, 3 to 5 projects. Submit each project as a PDF. We want to see design process. So we want to see how you think and move through a problem that you were given to get to the final beautiful solution. So mock-ups, design comps, or prototypes are helpful too in seeing the process. And of course, a project description, like write about what we're looking at. Otherwise, we won't really know the context. So types of projects that we typically get are websites or apps, some products, some motion graphics, or some print work. Types of skills, we're assessing concept and strategy, your research, your design process, typography and design, motion and storytelling, and interactive and any coding. So these are all types of skills that we like to take a look at and assess. So process work can include sketching, research, diagrams, user flows, site maps, personas, wireframes, mock-ups and or design comps, kind of the entire process. So include a prototype of your project. So this could be a mock-up or a design comp and or a link to a website or some sort of prototype you built using code, a video presentation of some sort of prototype that you've made or another means of showing us your final outcome for your project. So be creative. We just want to see what you made in its final form. And also, it's really important, like I mentioned earlier, please write a brief description of your work, including the goals and objectives for the project. So let us know about your role in the project too, if you worked on something with a team. What did you specifically contribute? So here's another example of a student's work that they created for like a website redesign. What we want to see is the design process. This is only a few of the pieces. There can also be sketches, competitive analysis, and the prototype in this case is an actual, this person made a WordPress site. So providing a link to the prototype is highly encouraged. Another student project showing design process and goals for the project. We want to see your thought process and how you came to your final design. Again, this wouldn't be everything to show, but it gives you an idea. And again, in the chat, we're going to share case study examples and some prototypes that you'll be able to see in those case study examples. Our ixd website has helpful resources that will support you working on your application and portfolio submission. Again, in the chat, we're going to be pasting what to include in your portfolio submission, example of student portfolio submissions for you to look like so you can benchmark, so you can see what was submitted and maybe what you might want to change or update or add in your own submission. An outline of how to structure your project is also available for you to look at. So our suggestions are, if you haven't already, start working on materials now, refine your projects, submit your best work, revise and rewrite essays, and plan your time wisely. And now we're going to move on to the question portion of the evening. If there's any questions you have, again, please put them in the chat. But also remember, you can find answers about the application and portfolio submission process on the ixd.smc.edu site.
Great, thank you, Nicole. And I went ahead and dropped those information in the chat about portfolio submission and student portfolio and a short video that's been created. So then the first question that I see here is I'm going to actually bring in Miguel. Miguel being the senior and having been through both a in-person class and an online class. Can you talk about what your experience has been in a remote environment? Have you felt supported by faculty and counseling, and how has that been for you?
Yes, thank you for inviting me here. What's nice about the program is that all of our professors and our counselors are all equipped to deal with like the online environment. I mean, before they were educators, they were industry professionals, so they know the technology and how to navigate through that. I can't say the same for main SMC campus, but in ixd department, when you're learning here, especially online, everything is great. All the resources will be given to you if you ask for help. I think that's the most important part. Basically just communicating your needs. A lot of people don't actually do that and just expect everyone to know what their needs are. So just communicate, and then the ixd program will be there. Yeah, overall positive experience during this pandemic. It is hard depending on your own situation. It was harder for me because I wasn't used to online learning, but they were there to help us get through it, and especially like different ways to plan your time, your projects, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Miguel. This next question I'm going to answer because it has come up quite frequently. Currently, Santa Monica College is scheduled to be remote through at least summer 2021. We haven't made a decision yet if we're going to be returning to a physical environment for fall 2021. We hope we can be back on campus because our Center for Media and Design is absolutely beautiful, and we have some great equipment in there. We'd love to be back in person, but we don't have that information for you at this time. So what I would say to people applying this year is there is a possibility that you could start in one semester remote, and then the next semester you could be back on a physical campus, but we just don't know that yet. This question is for Amanda. This has to do with coursework. Earlier you referenced what has to be done, specifically English 2 and math. Can that be completed in the spring, or can it carry over to summer 2021, or does everything have to be done by spring?
So everything has to be done by the end of spring, and we will need to see on the application, if it's not already completed, that it's in progress in order for the portfolio to even be reviewed. So super, super important to indicate on the application that it's at least in progress. And yeah, it has to be done by the end of spring to solidify your admission for the fall.
Great, thank you. The next question is a portfolio related question, and I'm gonna defer to both Nicole and Miguel on this one. If I don't have any projects specific to interaction design, but I do in other forms of design, would that be accepted?
I think that it's hard because I don't know specifically what type of work you're talking about. However, I think it would probably be really great to talk to a counselor about the specifics of what the work is that you have to show. And again, it really does get down to process, like showing us how you move through something to get to the final. So if you sketch first and then you bring it to the computer, you know, we want to see the sketch. So again, it's just showing that thinking. And then also talking to someone about the specifics of your situation would help us give you better feedback as well.
Great. Thank you. The next question is about a student who normally works while going to school. How difficult is it to be in the program, especially since the program is a full-time cohort program? And Miguel, I'm gonna bring you up as an example. Can you talk about your own personal experience when referencing that? How difficult is it for you, or how would you manage your time?
Time management was really key during the first year and a half for me. Well, the first year. It's not the same for everyone, but for me, it was kind of hard, especially if you do want to put quality, like, you know, your best foot forward in these projects and stuff, and really dive into the research and not treat the project as just another checklist of sorts. I was only working part-time, so that means 20 hours a week. And for me, that was really hard, especially if I want to put quality on either one of those. But if you're that type of person that really manages their time well and know where, you know, each moment of the day gets allocated with the time, then I think you should be fine. We have one person, I have in my cohort who worked full time last semester. I was surprised she was able to do that. And she was still doing good. So I'd say it's possible. For me, I wouldn't be able to do 40 hours a week and do the program with the quality of work. So
Great, thank you, Miguel. And this is more of a technical question for the portfolio. And I'm going to defer to Nicole. It's about what the orientation of the portfolio is, whether it's landscape or portrait for scrolling or some other format.
It's up to you. We don't have specific specs on if we do portrait or landscape. You're creating PDFs, so it's really up to you. And I would just think about how you want someone to move through your work. Is it beneficial to have it landscape, you know, or do you want to lay it out, you know, vertical? So it's really up to you. I don't have any specs on that. I would design it the way that you want someone to view it. Great.
Thank you, Nicole. And I'm seeing a lot of great questions in, and I'm seeing all of them. So just thank you for your patience as we work through all of them. The next question has to do with somebody that may have applied to the program before and was not accepted. What sort of advice would you give to somebody who's applying again? What could they do differently if they want to change their portfolio? What do you recommend for that specific student? And I know Amanda, Nicole, and Miguel may have some thoughts on this.
Amanda, I'll let you answer that first. You have a really good answer on that one. And I'll follow up if I need to.
Okay, hope I get this right. So if you applied last year, first and foremost, we highly, highly, highly recommend students to reapply, even if you weren't admitted in a previous year. One thing that I've personally seen in students that have reapplied is, you know, students may not have had like a ton of design experience or minimal design experience when they applied the first time. And then throughout the second year, picked up a few more classes like in the graphic design department and really expanded their skill set, worked a little bit on their design, and then resubmitted. And we were really blown away by the quality of their work the second time around. So yeah, I think there's definitely an opportunity to develop your skill set and then, of course, work on that portfolio, getting feedback, and making sure that you're demonstrating like your best stuff. The great thing about the program is our faculty are really interested in seeing the way you think through a project, not necessarily like a fine-tuned finished project. So that's the exciting part about the ixd program. You're going to get to do a lot of that in ixd. So yeah, I would say as long as you are developing your skill set, not just for admission to the program, but also for your contributions to your career and industry, I think it's a good investment.
Great, thank you. And Miguel, would you have anything to add to that?
I would say be more proactive about it. You know, receiving a no is great, and I'm not I mean not great, but and then, you know, reapplying is great and stuff. But I would be more proactive and ask the professors, or like for example Nicole, because they're the ones, you know, accepting these applications or reviewing them. I would ask them, where did I fall short, and, you know, work on those rather than, you know, going at it blind, or and generally just trying to get better. Try to get better on the things that you really weak at, and improve those. I think that's a much better way of approaching it. Not only through application process, I think in anything in life. In our design club, I'm part of the design club. I'm not the president. I'm the representative. We do have portfolio sessions where, you know, we get to talk with each other, break down, help each other, and how we can improve, portfolio review sessions and such like that, and or design critiques or weekly design challenges is what we're trying to implement this spring semester. So I will drop in the chat our Discord server so everyone here can join, and it's free. We just need your time. So
I think the only thing I would add to jump off what Miguel and Amanda said is, well, one thing, don't reach out to me because I can't actually critique your work because I'm reviewing it for applications, so it's not really something I can comment on, unfortunately. But as Miguel said, there's some good peer review suggestions going on, so that's always an option. But also, we only accept 26 students with a cohort, so it's not always that your work wasn't wonderful. It was that we get a lot of wonderful applications. So we usually end up narrowing it down to different types of people with different strengths. So I wouldn't always take it personally. And yeah, please apply again. We had some really great people that we didn't accept last year, and we wish that we could. So yeah, please try again.
Nicole, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to say that, you know, some years are more competitive than others, and you have really wonderful applicants every year, and it's always hard to say no because we want to let everybody in, but it's hard to say no. So we do encourage that go around the second time. Miguel, if you don't mind, if you can just drop your design club Instagram or Discord in the chat. So if somebody does want to look at a peer review unofficially, they're more than welcome to do that with your organization. I am the only one that's not on the admissions committee. So if you do have these technical questions or things come up between now and March 1st, you can reach out to me. And again, I will follow up with an email after tonight's info session. As long as you signed up through Calendly, I'll be able to just send out my contact information as well. Somebody is asking about if this is a second bachelor's for them, what would the tuition be like? And the tuition is around $10,000 for California residents. Amanda, is that correct? I'm just not at me if that's right. And then the other question that I see that I'm going to just answer in here, somebody in here says that they have a bachelor's degree from a few years ago. Would you recommend to check to see if your units are covered in GE's transfer? I do recommend meeting with a counselor either through our ixd if you're going to be applying for fall 21, either through Amanda or Nancy if available, if not through one of the general counselors. Keep in mind we look at what the Cal State general ed requirements are, and we follow that. And you know, if you're currently in school right now and you're finishing up those 60 units this semester, that's okay. But if you've taken previous coursework and you need that evaluated, definitely reach out to a counselor soon, because March 1st is right around the corner. Okay, so let me just go back to some of the questions. Hang in there. This next question is it possible for me to enroll and apply to get in the program without any prior experience? So I think it really, and Nicole and Amanda may want to jump in, I think it really just means what you define as experience. If you define experience as taking coursework and you haven't taken any coursework, what type of experience do you have? Do you have any professional experience? Do you have any industry experience? Do you have experience, you know, working with maybe a club organization doing some sort of things that are related to graphic or user design? So you have to think about what is experience and what you have that you could actually create a portfolio out of to show who you are and show your strengths. So if you do meet some of those academic requirements, of course, it's absolutely helpful to have some of these background courses that have been highlighted. But I do, you know, I do feel that it's worth looking into, and you can always follow up with one of our counselors afterwards. The question is about, do you get feedback on the application portfolio after, whether you're admitted or not, do you get feedback?
No, unfortunately, we are not able to give feedback on applications. Once they're submitted, they're considered confidential. So we're not able to comment on them. But should you not get a favorable admissions decision and have questions, you can always follow up with me. Decisions are going to go out. Our goal is to have them out before summer and fall registration. So you should know with plenty of time for fall registration, and we can make arrangements that way.
Great, thank you. And this question, I'm gonna self-answer. Somebody is saying, if they're a decent artist, does it make it more challenging to get accepted? I would say just have confidence in yourself to be a great artist, and show us what you have in your portfolio if you do decide to apply. Don't be afraid to apply. Like I think that's very important. If you're unsure about your skills, it's important to apply. And as Nicole mentioned, don't take it personally if you're not, or Nicole or Amanda, don't take it personally if you're not accepted this year. Can we talk about the financial aid process? That that question does come up a lot. If somebody has, what kind of financial aid we offer here at Santa Monica College. Amanda, would you mind talking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So financial aid. So like Jeff mentioned earlier, the price ticket of the bachelor's degree is roughly $10,000 for in-state students. And that also captures in the first 60 units. So from the upper division coursework, the way the fees are established, you can get all of the financial aid that you would normally get at a university. So the Cal grants, the Pell grants are also applicable here. Additionally, if you qualify for that fee waiver, the California Promise Grant, that gives you the fee waiver, you'll be able to have a specific amount of each unit also deducted. So yeah, you get full financial aid opportunities and then some, yeah.
Great, thank you. And then this next question mentions that the student had to take a semester off recently. Will that affect their acceptance? And I'll chime in, and then Amanda, you could chime in as well. We have students that apply that are current students right now taking these units, and we've had students that apply that maybe applied from courses 5 years ago. So as long as you meet the academic eligibility, the minimum requirements, and submit that portfolio and essay, then everybody should be able to apply for that. This next question is about being a transfer from another community college. This question is that if you're transferring from another community college, if I haven't completed the graphic design degree, do I still have a chance of making it into the program? Nicole or Amanda?
Can you say that last part again? So if they don't have, they're from
If they-
another college.
They're from another college, and if they don't have a graphic design degree, do they still have a chance of making it into the program?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I had said before, the graphic design associate's degree is not a requirement to get into the program. What's really important is that you're showing your best skill set in your portfolio, and so graphic design classes aren't required.
Okay, great. This next question is about how long does it take to finish the interaction design program? This program is designed as a 2-year program. You enter at the junior level. And on a related note, it says, since I work during the day, am I able to go at my pace? If accepted, can I do part-time if not full-time? Unfortunately, at this time, it is a cohort program. It is a full-time 12-unit program. So we don't offer any part-time opportunities, maybe in the future, but we don't offer any part-time opportunities right now. You do have to be at 12 units throughout your whole, each semester that you're in the program. Let me just scroll down here and see if I'm missing anything else. A question about us being a pilot program. Nicole mentioned earlier that we're a part of a pilot program, and it says, when does the pilot program end? I want to see if I can make it before it ends. So it's important to note that we are granted to give out bachelor's degree program through at least 2025. And there is legislation in process to make it a permanent program. So we'll be around for a long time and hopefully longer. So I do encourage you to apply, this cycle, if not this cycle, in the future. And I don't know if this question can be answered. On average, how many applications do you receive a year?
I mean, I know the numbers off the top of my head because I'm a nerd, but it's hard to tell. So I know that last year we had roughly like 85 applications. I think the last 2 years we had roughly 85 applications. But the year before that, I think we only had something like 60. So it really all depends. Like there's never any real telling what the amount of applicants are going to be, especially with COVID. So yeah, and there's no telling what the quality of applications are and all that good stuff. So yeah, about 85 the past 2 years.
Great. And this next question is about having a game design background. If I have a game design background, would this be a program for me? I've taken units like graphic design, but I'm not sure if this is the right area to invest in my time. Is there another program for game design students? Amanda?
So we're currently working on, if I'm assuming, I actually don't know if the game design background you have is from our college or from an outside college, but our animation faculty is working really, really hard on getting a game design associate's degree passed through. So we currently have some game design classes at the CMD, and we also do something really cool where we work with IndieCade every year, which is the Independent Game Festival, which is really, really exciting for some of our students. So at the game design level, our future associate's degree is the highest level that we have specifically for game, but we have a lot of really great opportunities in ixd. So short answer, yes, if you have a game design background, you should absolutely apply. This is actually a great place for you. And I don't know if Nicole wants to jump in and talk about the exciting stuff we did last semester.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love game designers. I mean, if you think about it too, like everything that we do, not everything, but a lot of the interactions that we have with media are gamified. I mean, it's kind of a buzzword, but for the good or for the bad, like we need to be aware of these habits and these awards that we're giving people as we design these experiences. So I personally love having game designers in teams when we're doing projects. Last semester, we did work with Activision, who is the creator of Call of Duty, which I know nothing about. However, so they make a game, and we did a project with them for a full class. So yes, please. We love game designers. Please apply.
Yeah, and we've accepted students with game design experience in the past as well. And if you have a chance to look through our industry partner page and you click on Activision, you will actually be able to see some of the projects that our students were working on. There's some Vimeo videos up there that discuss, and this was just recently uploaded. The students were very excited to take part. Miguel, you took part in that class with Activision, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was fun working with like real industry real industry professionals. And a lot of it is work that you've worked with real stakeholders with real deadlines. I think that was the fun part of it, is that you were actually accountable and not just for your grade, but you're actually getting feedback from people from Activision, getting their input. You can set up meetings with them and you can talk to them, build your relationships and stuff. So it was an amazing end of the year, I would say, despite everything.
Yeah, one of the great things about having these industry partners that are part of this program is that you're not just getting to work with them and get critical feedback from them. You're networking kind of in real time with these industry professionals. So some of the things that we're seeing some of our students being offered internships, mentorships, jobs, career opportunities, while you're a junior and senior, in this program. So it's really nice to have those industry partners, so you have that cohort and you have those industry partners available to work with you. This question has been answered, but it's, again, how many applicants are accepted into the program? On average, we accept around 26 applicants into the program. And then let me just take a look through here. Bear with me. Somebody is asking if they're trying to figure out how to put together a portfolio and they're having a hard time with that. Their counselor has given them some great tips, but still having some trouble. I do suggest maybe reaching out to the design club if you do need some additional unofficial assistance, have them take a look through it. They're not on the admissions committee, but they've, there's students that are in the program. So it's just something to think about, having them take a look at that, but also getting feedback from anybody, that's in the industry would be helpful as well. And then I see some more questions coming in here. Hang on with me. Amanda, do you have any more on your end while I'm just scrolling through?
No, none since the last one I sent.
There was a question about math class options, and this is an academic question, so I'm going to lean on you again, Amanda. Thank you. What were the other math class options besides statistics? And I'm gonna add my own question, even though I know the answer to this. And is statistics you can take after you enter the program, or how does that work?
Okay, so here's the answer. So you really only need a college level math class to be admitted into the program. So if you're a Santa Monica College student, we say statistics because it also meets a prerequisite of one of the upper division psychology classes. So it kills two birds with one stone. Now, for some students that have to take the pre-statistics and statistics, an alternative option that's pretty comparable is doing the accounting 45 or business 45 individual financial planning and pairing that up with Psych 7, which is the research methods class. And that will adequately prepare you for the upper division research class, actually will prepare you more for that upper division psych class, and it'll also meet a general ed requirement and all those good things. So at your community college or college, as long as it's college level math, we'll accept it. The kicker is if you don't take statistics, you have to meet the prereq for an upper division class. I hope that wasn't too much.
No, I think that's good. And if you do have any questions, again, you can email Amanda. As I mentioned, if you're applying this year, Nancy does have some appointments available on February 25th, and that's through a link in the chat, and I will follow up with you afterwards. The next question is I took a C++ class at a private university. Is that eligible to cover the math requirement?
For that, if it met the math requirement at your institution, what we probably will need to see is the course description and potentially a syllabus. So if you're planning to apply for this March, I encourage you to reach out to us as soon as possible. And that way we could double check that for you.
Great. And then this question is portfolio based. So Nicole, I'm gonna bring you in for this one. If I have a website from a previous design program, may I link the projects through PDF, or what do you recommend?
Yeah, we need everyone to, I understand the kind of annoyance of that, but yeah, if you wouldn't mind selecting the pieces that you want to highlight and putting them in a PDF and uploading that for us, it's helpful when everyone's submitted the same format for us reviewing. I can't tell you how many times two people have given us links and they don't work, or our website's down. So it's a nice way to ensure that we're able to review your work. You can also, though, embed in the PDF links to the pages on your site too, if you do want us to also look at the site. But I do recommend having the PDF for kind of your solid format that we can definitely check out, and then you can add hyperlinks in that PDF that we can shoot off to. But yeah, please keep everything in the PDF for the most transparency and also the easiest way for us to access everything.
So just kind of as we wrap up here, today is February 16th. It's the first day of the spring semester for those that are currently attending Santa Monica College. If you're not currently attending Santa Monica College and you do plan on applying for fall 2021 for our interaction design bachelor degree program, I cannot stress what Amanda brought up is apply now. Don't wait until Monday, March 1st to apply to SMC, because sometimes it's a separate application system where you get your SMC student ID number, and sometimes it takes up to 24 hours to activate. So we don't want you to be in a position on March 1st where you're trying to get your ID number and it doesn't work, because that is a hard deadline on the end of the day. End of the day, March 1st, that is a hard deadline. So we do encourage, students to start applying now, to reach out to us if you have any additional questions, and to go from there. After this meeting today, I'm going to follow up with all the portfolio links that were in the chat. I'm also going to follow up with the Calendly link to Nancy, because she does have availability on February 25th. Amanda, you're very popular right now, so you don't have any availability for the next couple of weeks. So Nancy is available, so you can make an appointment with her. Again, I do ask, reserve that for fall 2021 applicants only, please. And then I'm just going to take one more question here, and then any parting thoughts that Nicole, Amanda, and Miguel might have. This is a question about portfolio. Can most UX design projects, such as building steps to a website, and with design studio projects such as posters, be useful for the portfolio?
Yes, both. Yeah, with posters, especially if it's a print design project, it's really helpful if you can show, sometimes in print design classes, you'll show a version 1, and then you'll show how you got a feedback and maybe what that feedback was, and then how you took that feedback and implemented it in the final version. So that's how I would show process in print, or even sketches. If you have thumbnails that you sketch first for a poster, you have it in your sketchbook, take a picture, put that in, like, here's some sketches for my posters. Here's the first version that I did. Here's the feedback I got from, my peers or my professor or my boss, my art director. And then here's the final piece that I did. So we can see how you think and move through something, because nothing's ever perfect the first time, right? Or nothing's ever perfect ever. You always get to kind of change or evolve it. So that's how I would recommend for print work. And then of course, UX work, you've got all that research that you can talk about, and of course, pick the high level things. Show any methods that you use, like, did you interview? Did you observe somebody? Did you do an analysis where you saw some, the competitor and what they were doing? So any process things that you went through for your final outcome for a UX process, show that to us too. And again, like Jeff mentioned, we do have some really great like layouts. We have a layout that shows a format of how you could show a case study, as we like to call it, for UX work. So there are some things that you can look at. And again, like Miguel offered, the design club, there's students in the club that have done all of this, and we have worked with them on it in our program and also in the graphic design program at Santa Monica College. So those students are pretty well versed in giving good crits at this point. So I would recommend reaching out to them too and getting their feedback.
Thank you, Nicole. And the one thing I want to highlight that you brought up earlier in the session is that if you took part in a group project, to make sure you let us know in that group project what role you facilitated with that. It's important that we understand that when we're looking through your portfolio and your work. Okay. This next question, gonna ask Miguel this question. Are most of the classes in IXD at night, or are they throughout the day? What does a typical schedule look like for an IXD student?
A lot of them are at night, because I believe this course also focuses on like professionals working as well. So it doesn't interrupt most of your day plans. A lot of the IXD classes are at night, but for those that are not IXD focused, we have a couple that are either in the morning or in the afternoon. So it varies. So.
I have to add too, we do try, we do typically we have 2 days a week that we focus the IXD classes on. So for example, the senior classes are usually on Monday and Wednesdays, and we do juniors on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So at least you'll know like the block out days where you're gonna have classes, whether those are evening or afternoon. And then there's the other classes though at the school that are not as flexible, but the IXD classes at least are at least 2 days a week.
Great. Thank you, Nicole. And just to let you know, in the chat, there is a one that says contact an IXD counselor. Again, if your fall 2021 ready or you think you're ready, go on down to Nancy Cardenas. She is one of our other counselor helping out these next few weeks, and she's available on February 25th. And then Amanda put her Calendly link in there. And then in March and April and beyond, if you're thinking about fall 2022, please go ahead and just book with Amanda for those future classes, or if you're looking for things that might help you enhance your portfolio in the future, like those graphic design courses are going to help strengthen as much as possible to help, as a supplement. So we're wrapping up here today. I want to thank everybody, first of all, for coming out on a Tuesday night on the first day of the semester. I want to thank Miguel for being here. He's one of our star seniors. He has a lot of great opportunities that he's taking part of through the ixd program. So we're excited that he's a part of it. Some of the info session flyers you've seen have been designed by Miguel on social media. So thank you for that, Miguel. Amanda, thank you. And Nicole, do you guys have any parting words of wisdom for our students other than get out there and apply before March 1st? Or is there anything else that you would like to add?
Just good luck and have fun with it and be confident in your skills. And we are very, very excited to see who our next cohort is.
Miguel?
Ditto what Amanda said. Just, start working on it now so that you don't feel pressured, and asking for help is always recommended. So good luck.
Yeah. Even now, start working on recording your process and networking. Those are the two most important things you can do for yourself. Especially, for example, when applying for jobs, you would have more success through networking than through applying to the regular, Indeed or whatever. There's hundreds of people applying through there. So start networking. And the SMC Discord community is a great way to start with that. But also local LA Slack channels, there's tons online. You just got to try to find them. That's it.
All right, everyone. Well, have a great evening. And if you have any questions immediately following the session, I'll be sending an email out to everyone that participated tonight. I'll have on there the portfolio information that we discussed, how to make an appointment with a counselor, another reminder about the deadline being March 1st. If you haven't heard it enough, I'm going to kind of drill it in there one more time. And then, just again, my information, if you do have any questions, because Nicole and Amanda are on the admissions committee, they can't answer any questions specific to the portfolio. But if you have any technical requirements, if there's any issues with the application, just please let me know, and I'll be happy to help you. And most excitingly, we're ready to meet our new cohort, like Amanda said. So we're excited to see who applies and getting ready to review those applications very soon. And there was a last question about whether or not this will be online. Our hope is to have this on our ixd page by the end of the week, and I will also do that as well. And then, as Amanda is reminding me, with exclamation points, it's March 1st, 11:59 p.m. is the actual the absolute latest that you can do that. But please don't procrastinate. Don't drive me completely crazy. So we hope to see you soon, and have a great rest of the evening.